I'm here in the centre of Stevenage in the UK. In 1969, you would have found behind me, above the shops, the first offices of Inspec, the information services of what was the Institution of Electrical Engineers. A small band of information scientists were creating the largest bibliographic database in science, engineering and technology. And today this is at the centre of the IET's knowledge management activities. As we celebrate Inspec's 40th anniversary, let's speak to some of the people who created the service, people who use it, and some of the scientists and technologists whose work has spanned the 40-year period, our so-called Ruby authors.
My earliest memories of Inspec are really a time of great excitement, new developments. We were at the leading edge of information handling and retrieval. Well, from the start, the Inspec had a very strong information research program run by Tom Aitchison, and that included a study of the comparative evaluation of index languages, and that was a very strong base for Inspec at that time. The other thing that must not be forgotten is that the system, the computer system that was developed by people like David Martin was really very strong, very flexible, and I think a number of other people who produced databases at that time didn't reach the same standard, and that has been a strong feature in the development of Inspec. It's had a flexible production system for a very long time.
I believe then that the future of telecoms particularly would be based upon digital technology. I was called into the office of the then director to be told that the report was very well written, but he would like me to know that digital techniques have no future in telecoms. I wish he were alive today, so I would give him a gift of a mobile telephone.
One would be the microprocessor that brought along a general purpose hardware building block that could be used as the basis, the platform for all kinds of different systems.
Well, before the age of online, I used the old print volumes, and I'll tell you, they could be a bit lethal, especially when reaching to the top shelf and having them land on top of your head, which has happened to me more than once.
There were two main technological developments in the 1980s. The first was the introduction of chemical and numerical indexing to improve performance of retrieval for specialist chemical substances such as semiconductors, and also to be able to search by quantities. We launched this in 1987.
Inspec has got an excellent reputation for breadth of coverage, depth of coverage and quality. Yes, an enormous amount of material is available freely over the internet. If you're taking material straight from the internet, you've got the concern of quality, you've got the concern of validity. Inspec, to a large extent, takes that worry away from you.
The second development in the 1980s was the database upgrade project, which took every single record we had then and reprocessed it according to the then current validation rules.
That was a massive undertaking, and I don't think any other database producer has ever undertaken any kind of what we might call a database cleanup in the way that Inspec did at that time.
More specifically, the search functionality on Inspec is much better, more intuitive than many of its competitors. And the thesaurus within Inspec is a great research tool for us as information professionals and for academics to ensure that quality search results are gained.
In the 1990s there were two significant developments. The first was the introduction of an Inspec CD-ROM in 1991.
I continued to use Inspec 4 years on because Inspec is quality information. It's information we can trust. It's information that goes back to 1969, and we are using Inspec to go back that far, even earlier, because I've been asked for papers published in the early 1970s. People don't want to reinvent the wheel.
The late 1990s saw the impact of the internet. It meant that we were sending out our updates by FTP instead of magnetic tape. It brought about the introduction of the DOI to link to full text, and it brought about the era of the site license, with our first site licenses coming into place in 1998.
Now it's in a journal which I can hold in my hands. I can open it up, I can read the paper. I don't need anything special to be able to read it. The most recent paper I had published last year is on a CD. If I want to read that paper, I now need an appropriate computer. So there's a very big difference between 69 publications and 2008 publications.
In the last 10 years, we've continued to develop the database and add new facilities and features. In 2003, we added a new section to the database to cover manufacturing and production engineering. In 2004, we digitized our archive, taking the database back to 1898. In 2007, we upgraded our production system to our 5th, and this has allowed us to add many more records to the database than we previously could. In 2008, we launched our own search platform, Inspec Direct.
Well, in the next 40 years, I'd like to see more visual information on Inspec.
The great thing about Inspec is that it's updated constantly. New technologies and new features are added, but it continues to stick to its core concept of high quality content. So I think developing that kind of ethos for the future, so expanding and updating whilst keeping to your core strengths, is something that we'd very much like to see from Inspec in the next 40 years.
Ooh, Inspec means to me, in just 3 words, is quality, quality, and quality. It's information that I can trust, and I can tell my users that they can trust the information in Inspec.
Quality, range, authority.
Reliability, accuracy and excellence.
We are extremely proud of the world-class status of excellence that Inspec has delivered over the past 40 years. And we would like to thank all our business partners and staff for their immense contribution. Happy birthday, Inspec, and continue to move forward in the next 40 years to come.